Ride.
Oh,
Ride.
that was money.
That was it. We made that eye contact. It's kind of like with a high five. You know that
Yeah,
trick, aim for the elbow, like look at that person's elbow.
yeah.
Dude, to this day I can't do it. Like I'll go up and I'm like, all right, looking at their elbow, I'm like, face. Like, ah, shit. Sorry.
I think you just want to hit people in the face.
There is, dude. Have you watched Roadhouse? Have I asked you that
Yeah,
already?
yeah,
Have you?
yeah.
And you loved it, right?
It was good.
Conor McGregor, right?
Yeah.
Eh, I
His acting was terrible.
He was him though. I got thinking
Yeah,
about it after because I thought the same. I was like, dude, what the hell? You came on and you're like, oh, what are we doing? All
yeah,
Irishy leprechaun, and then I'm like, wait a minute, that guy is pure blood Irish. Like,
yeah,
that's his accent. That dude's a bot. Like, even his walk in it, I was like,
yeah,
oh, big pimpin'.
yeah,
It's a good movie, man.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't
I
like
liked it.
smacking people. Neither did Jake Gyllenhaal, but he had
He
to.
had to. He had to.
Sometimes. Oh, I'm jazzed on that and Iron Claw. Did I tell you about Iron Claw?
Yeah, yeah, you did.
I didn't have a TV. It's hiding. You know my TV's hiding behind that. Like
Yeah,
no TV for like 4 months.
really?
It was nice, yeah. And then I got it back. And it's funny because like I hotspot. I don't have Wi-Fi, right? So I
Yeah,
hotspot off my phone. And when I run out of my hotspot and I can't watch it up there, I'm finding myself trying to run from boredom again. Like for
yeah,
4 months, I was fine. The first week was kind of like, what do I do? And then I picked up my guitar, and yeah, dude, now I'm like, boredom, like
yeah,
run.
yeah.
It's kind of funny. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I can't. Sydney and I stream. We have every streaming service out there.
You got Peacock?
Yeah,
That's a good one.
everything, all
Dang.
of it. Yeah, we're
My
obsessed.
my issue, do you guys do this? Me and my ex would like, and it probably drove her crazy. That's probably why I'm where I'm at. No, but I'll turn on Netflix or Hulu or whatever, and I'll scroll through and watch all the trailers, trying to decide what I want to watch.
It's so funny.
And when I look at the clock, it's been 2 hours already, and I'm like, I feel like I just watched 15 movies.
Yeah.
Like I just gained every bit of
Oh,
knowledge.
Sydney won't let me, dude. After like 15 minutes of doing that, she's like, just pick something. I'm like, oh shit.
What
Yeah,
about
you're right.
what about the card? It's a smart card. I've never had the chonies to do it, but if I'm taking my time and a gal doesn't want that, she'll just be like, I'm going to bed. I'm like, oh wait, no, wait, oh, this one. Like, we'll
Yeah,
watch that. But it's
yeah,
like, oh, I never have those chonies. I'm always like, I'm closing this up. Like I'm here till we close it.
yeah.
Yeah, man, it's like yeah.
Nah, it's funny. It's funny that you do that because I thought I was alone in the world
No,
with watching all the previews. Yeah.
even with preview watching, we're at one.
Hell yeah. That's funny.
So like, what's new, man? It's been a little bit. It's been a little bit since we've sat and
Yeah.
like in the sense of yeah
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, if we have any loyal listeners that watch our YouTube videos, they'll realize that we record more than one in a day. So it's fine to say that we skipped a week.
Or they'll think that I'm some homeless guy and you are too, and we wear the same outfit,
Yeah.
which is cool too. It's like
Yeah, yeah. No, it's been this week was pretty cool, man. It was a good week. Uh, had a lot of good stuff happen as far as like I don't know how to say it other than building confidence in like teaching, coaching, mentor. It was good. It's fun.
dude,
Yeah.
you did. We spoke for a second because we saw each other the other evening, and you brought up, um, was it Thursday that you did that event? It's every Thursday, right,
Yeah.
that you get to?
Yeah.
That's so cool to me, man.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
it's cool on both ends. We've already talked a little about it, but like, I just think that being able to share that while being a mentor and leader, while, I mean, like us, dude, we're always learning from everybody. So it's like that cool flow that you get to be a part of.
Yeah.
And what was something you guys talked about in this one this week?
So it was pretty, it was so different from every other one because I usually have a training in mind. And I go into these with like a presenter trainer mentality. And this time we had such a small group. There was four of them, and they were, some of them, one of them has been to like every one of the trainings. The others missed one or two.
Male or female?
It was actually two of each this time. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's cool.
And so I didn't learn, like we had 8 people signed up before, and then before we started, 4 of them were like, hey, something came up, hey, I can't do it. And I was like, oh, all right. So I had something planned, and then when I saw how many people were actually going to be there, I was like, shit, maybe we should just wing it, And so just went in and was like, all right, I'm just going to start writing some things on the board that we've talked about. And if there's anything that I write down that you're like, hey, I want to know more about that, then we'll do that. We'll just talk about it. So it was so random, like it was almost, it felt a lot like a magic show because it was all at random, but the results were so powerful.
Yeah.
It was like, how did this happen? Type of a thing. It was like,
Magic.
How the hell did we have it was the best one
Dude.
we've ever done.
Remind me what it was on, like, me and you had a similar connection when we had spoke on it, and before you even told me about it, I had brought up what was going on in my week, and I'm spacing, man. It's been a busy, crazy, thought-filled
we need to
week.
have like a group notes or something so we can make sure we remember what we've done and talked about. But
honest, man.
I don't know if I actually got into the training so much, but we kind of connected on some journaling that you and I had done.
That was, yeah. The journaling and attachment is what I was going through, like, myself, but...
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I mean, so what ended up happening is one of the ladies there was vulnerable. Like, she got vulnerable.
Ooh.
And so what was even more funny is one of the team leads that was there asked me what the difference was between training and coaching, because I kind of brought it up, and I was like, well, with this group, I don't really get into like the coaching piece just because we are at work, and you're less likely to be vulnerable because you got to work with each other. Plus, some of the breakthroughs we could do they have like a risk factor.
Well, on the sense of, I mean, I've even been to seminars where they're like, don't talk to anyone you met here for 30 days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Why? And it's because you build a bond with these people. And sometimes it can be mistaken for an intimate bond in a sense. And it's like, well, no. Yeah. I do love that person, but not like that. But because you're both so vulnerable in a sense, it's like that, like, connection. To me, vulnerability is a small fringe of intimacy. Like, I'm letting you see into me.
Yeah.
When I'm vulnerable, you're looking in. But anyway, so coaching, training,
yeah, so
getting vulnerable, all that. What?
So like I hadn't zeroed in on. I mean, occasionally I did. Like somebody would say something and I couldn't pass it up, and just be like, let's talk about it. But not much.
Yeah.
And then this lady brought something up, and I was like, are you okay doing this little exercise? It's going to be very uncomfortable for you, but could we do it? And I didn't have anything planned, by the way. Like, I felt so much like just a conductor of information.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I was just this conduit of
Totally.
it was crazy, man. I wasn't me, but I wasn't. You know, like I stepped into a whole new.
You became what was needed, and at times we get to be that, man.
Yeah.
Anyone can tap into it, and when you do, it's
Anyone, yes.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like, holy crap, like you were speaking from here and not from here, because this is just the antenna in a sense for this to connect to that.
Yeah.
And it's like, once that occurs and you step out of what you think this is, you'll share things with people that honestly I feel is needed in that moment for them to hear.
Yeah.
Can I ask what she shared and what you said, what
Yeah,
the
so
exercise?
it all started with she wanted to lose weight. And immediately, like, I was like, oh shit, this is too scary for me. You know, like, I'm not good at losing weight, especially if it's a woman.
It's
you
a
know,
gentle
it's like
subject.
This, yeah.
It's a gentle one.
So I was just like, hey, if you want to, let's try this. And she's like, okay. And then one of the other guys was like, can we all do the exercise? I was like, actually, yeah. I'll be speaking to her, but you guys can
follow along.
Along. And so they did. They both like stopped doing the exercise at different times, but the woman I was working with stayed in it. And essentially essentially it was had her think about the version of her that lost weight and what feelings, emotions she had, and she was just like happy. I was like, okay, go to a mirror. You're looking at yourself in a mirror, but you're looking at happy, the happy you know. And then it was just like this back and forth between her and her happy self. And like at first, it was like, you know, she had tears coming down because it was not good. Like it was like sad, scary, disappointed. But then all of a sudden, man, like she just through the guidance of the exercise, like smile. And as soon as she smiled, it was like more tears.
Yeah.
But it was those like those good tears.
It's gonna get me. I know those tears, man. And they'll come up right now. Like that's some cool stuff. So then
it was so crazy. So yeah, it was just working through that, and then before we like ended the exercise, it was, all right, what does happy version of you say that you need to go do right now? And she was like, go for a walk. And I was like, all right. And so initially, you know, I was like, all right, so as soon as you get home, you're going to go for a walk. And then I was like, hell no. Let's all go for a walk right now. Let's do this together. And then we start going out, and right before we walk out the door, I was like, let's make this a reverence walk, a peaceful walk. Let's not talk at all. Let's just use our vision, our ears,
be in your world,
our sense of touch, and let's just go for a walk. And the lady that was the vulnerable one, I was like, you're leading us. You're just going to walk where you feel you need to walk, and we're going to follow. And we went on this walk, man.
Can I really quick?
Yeah.
Having her lead, dude, that solidified in her that she is that strong, capable, leading person.
Yeah.
Like, that is, I'm happy you did that. That, like, after doing that exercise, you were like, you lead us. We are following you.
That's what I mean, too, is like there's other times that I never would have thought about that, but I was so, from my heart and my gut.
Yeah.
Like, it just came, and it was like, I didn't even feel like I was doing the talking. It was just like, okay, I'm part of this group. Somebody else is teaching me too, you know, like. And so, yeah, we did this walk. We get back and we just did our own little shares. And there was two people, a woman and a dude, who saw a bird. The other three of us didn't see the bird. So that was cool. Especially because, so I tapped into Austin, and I was like, oh, tell me about the bird. And it was the first lady. She was like, oh, well, when I first saw it, it looked like it was all alone. And then I thought, I can't remember exactly what she thought, but essentially it was, he's actually a free bird. Like he's enjoying the sunshine, enjoying the weather. He's free. Yeah, that's funny. Leonard Skinner. Right?
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I'm free bird, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, she thought he was alone. Then she said he's a free bird.
Free bird, just enjoying the moment in the present, just happy to be free. And what's even more crazy is I was like, what's the bird's name? And she's like, Larry. And I was like, shut up. Stop. So, anyways, so then I was like, all right, how do you think this bird, or no, how I started the whole conversation with the bird was, I was like, what message do you think the bird had for you? That's where I like tapped into Austin.
And was this the girl who did the exercise? No. Oh, totally different woman. Oh, okay.
And so she says that, and I was like, so how do you think that applies to your life? Do you see any connection there? And she was like, started to tear up. I'm like, yeah, you do, huh? You feel it. And she was like,
that's, dude.
She was like, yeah. I was like, okay, so tell me about it, tell me how you feel that. And she's like, all my life I've been a mother, and my youngest is gonna graduate, and I don't know who I am.
Mama bird's losing the nest.
And I was like,
for the moment. Yeah.
I was like, oh, so you're gonna be this bird sitting all alone.
Free bird in a sense. Not saying having kids is a bird, but like that's.
No, yeah. Yeah.
Dude, you dedicate your life to your children, and she sounds like a good mother doing that.
Yeah.
That is. Anyways, yeah.
So I was like, you're gonna be this bird sitting all alone. At first perception, but just like you realized, that bird was actually free to do whatever it wanted.
And it was always.
Yeah. And she was just like, wow. And then, so then I asked the other person about his experience, and he's like, yeah, I also saw the bird.
Don't tell me he said his name was Larry too. Okay, I was like, mother.
No.
I need to meet this bird.
No, it became Larry after she said it. It was Larry the bird. But he's like, so I guess it was on a power line. And he's like, well, at first I was like, oh, that bird's in danger.
Government drone.
Like it could be shocked, it could be.
I always wonder how they do that, man. I'm like, are they charging? Like, what is a bird doing on the power line? It's like, for me, I picture it like licking a 9-volt, but for the bird's whole body, so they're just like,
That's funny.
But he thought he was going to get hurt. He thought he was in danger at first.
Yeah. And so I was like, does that apply to you at all? Is there ever times in your life that you feel unsafe? And he's like, yeah.
And let me ask, is this some macho-looking guy who you wouldn't think ever felt unsafe kind of thing? Like you'd build that persona for him almost?
Yeah, tough.
Yeah.
Strong, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was cool. And so what was even more cool is like their shares connected with me. I was like, damn, I needed to hear that. And then I was just like, here's what's even more crazy is you two are the only ones that saw the bird. So if you don't think that there's always a reason for things happening, you needed to hear that message from that bird. I didn't.
Absolutely.
Therefore, I didn't see the bird.
But you gained knowledge from others who did.
And so that was the other thing is like, see, that's why we share our experiences, because other people are going to hear what you shared and be like, oh, wow, I relate to that.
It's kind of like with the Netflix thing, I'm not alone. I thought I was. And it's like,
exactly. Yeah.
That's why we share.
Yeah.
That is cool, man.
Yeah, it was so cool. It was so cool, man. It was wild. And like doing the exercise with the lady, she went to say something and then like changed her words, and I was like, no, say what you're gonna say. Were you gonna say fat? And like, but that's not always me. Like I'm not gonna have the courage to say that, know? And she was like, yeah, and like started to cry, and I'm like, don't ever filter yourself.
Yeah.
Ask happy version of you if you should ever filter yourself.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, you know, and I was like, exactly. You got to be real with yourself. You have to be real. If you want to lose weight, you can't sugarcoat it.
No.
That's what you do to gain weight.
Yeah, right.
Sugarcoat stuff.
Right.
That's funny. I didn't say that, but
No, Dr. Phil, I remember that. Dude, Dr. Phil is such a savage. I remember an episode, he's like, you're fat, you know it, and I ain't going to sugarcoat it because you'll eat that too. I was like, damn, like, Phil.
Hell yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
I have an interesting, like, yeah, that all is interesting to me, man. Like, I wasn't, like, big, but growing up, I wasn't fit. Like, you know, I had some cushion to me, and,
Yeah.
like, it's weird once I started doing inner work, man, and, like, stopped viewing myself as this flesh and blood and rather viewing this as, like Jim Carrey says, this is a car, and I'm grateful that I got a good one, in a sense. Like, once I flipped it from me being this to me being with this, it shifted, man, like, completely. And I like, naturally, I started taking better care of this. Naturally, it's like gardening. You got to pull the weeds in order to get the fruit and veggie, you know, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a wild, but you brought up Austin, man. I want to share some exciting news that we found out.
Yeah.
I mean, messages from nature, love it. Austin Soderquist, who we've had on here, phenomenal guy,
Yeah.
good friend. I love him dearly. I imagine you're on the same boat.
I love him for sure, yeah.
That guy is honestly, like, I didn't realize how connected us three were until we went up and spoke. And then it was like, holy crap, man, like, there's a reason you were both of our mentors.
Yeah.
He's doing it, man.
He's got
like,
a podcast.
after we went up there, he made a Facebook post that you had showed me, and it was like, holy crap. And it's the Journey Inward.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it on podcast too? I haven't jumped on. I gotta subscribe to it.
From what I've seen, I haven't asked him specifically, but he's only posted Spotify links. So I don't know if it's where you can find it, but for sure.
Well,
on
and he's
Spotify.
got the TikTok. I mean, his TikTok every day, man. I love it. Like, every day I'll jump. I got Facebook back, right?
Nice, yeah.
Mostly to see his stuff.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I love Grammy Sue. She posts great stuff too.
Nice.
But the stuff that Austin, it's weird. Like, he'll post something and I'm like, holy crap, like, I'm in that. Like, I'm going through that. That gave me a whole new point of view. Like, thank you. And it's just crazy to me. Like,
yeah, he's got great messages.
Extremely.
Yeah.
Extremely. I'm excited. Yeah. And I love the name, The Journey Inward.
The Journey Inward, yeah.
Because it is a journey, man. Like, it drives me crazy when people are like, I don't like the what do you want to be when you grow up first. That drives me nuts, right? It's like, what do you mean? Like, what do I want to be? I am. Like, I'll choose it when I get there.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, so it's the what do you want to be, and then tangent, ADHD got me, man. I went to the doctor, right? And I don't know what HD is, but he said I got 80 of them, so I got that off Instagram. I won't claim it. But no, it drives me crazy though with those whole, like, what do you want to be, and then I'm spacing it again. Must not have been that good. Might need some more coffee.
Or just not right now. It'll hit you.
Yeah, it might.
Yeah.
It'll roadhouse me.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit more about your journaling that you had, or no, or do you want to? Not really?
I'll share a bit. Some of it's out there, man. I'm a wild thinker, right?
Yeah.
I'm not just like cut and dry. I'm looking at logos different. I'm hearing music different. Like, I really like to not take something for what my first interpretation of it is, in a sense, you know, kind of like don't judge a book by its cover. But I picked up the pen, man. I hadn't journaled in, the last time I journaled was after the miscarriage, and so it'd been like almost 2 years, year and a half, and like it It was good, man. I just picked up my pen and just put it down. And the first thing I wrote at the top was just be at one, right? Because that's the podcast. That's kind of what we're working on. That's what we're all at one without knowing we're at one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just started writing out, dude. Like, I had a really crazy experience after watching a show on Netflix. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and again, wild thinker with it all. Like, I felt like there may have been imagery and audio that like kind of subliminally may have like triggered things in me in a sense. And I went to go to bed and it's like 1 in the morning and I lay down and my thoughts are racing. And usually I can kind of steady them and be like, come back. Not that night, man. Like I would try and something was just like, shut the hell up. Like we got the wheel, buddy. And it was like, whoa. And so I finally just closed my eyes and put my palms up and I started to see the light like I do when I meditate, right? And like this time it was weird. It was pulling me like and I wanted to go to it, but I stopped myself. Like as I was getting closer to this light, something was like, "Well, hold on. Where are you going? Why are you leaving this space?" And it was like, what do you mean? It's like, be in the dark. And it really stood out to me. Like it was kind of spooky at first. It's kind of like being in the actual dark. You know, it's spooky. It's the unknown. But after a minute, it just becomes peaceful, right? And like, it blew my mind after that. It was like, okay, like, what have I been focusing on, thinking it's this light, and I'm running from my darkness. Like, so it really brought me back to that and just attachments, like. And when I'll read a little, is it okay too? Because I'll forget how I wrote it, but people think when I say attachments, like, well, you have to be attached to love. You have to, like, what if so and so passes on? Like, you won't miss them, you won't mourn it? And I'm like, no, like, I'll cry. I'm not going to say I won't cry, but it's more I'll cry because it's the gratitude that I got to share the time with them. You know, because like I learned this week too, I might not always have money to share with people. I might not always have service to share with people. But the one thing that I can share, that you can share, that anyone out there can share is your time. And sometimes time is worth a lot more than dollars.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes time is like what you did Thursday. You took the time. And it turned into something beautiful and changed some stuff. It helped people shift.
Yeah.
Time's big, man. And the attachment is, in a sense, to me, the attachment is to this, like this physical, you know?
Yeah.
I'm grateful to be here, but I really try not to attach to here, in a sense. And I journaled way different than I ever had, man. I'd write stuff out, like, where is a thought? So, once focusing on the dark, I felt a peace, trust beyond the curious pull that was calling me to the light. Thought, could the light draw us to, oh, that's a deep thing. I won't get into that. That's a conspiracy. I have a little conspiracy that I won't share.
Okay.
It might freak people out is why I won't share it. It freaked me out a little, and then it was like, well, no. That could be the spiritual battle that they talk about, in a sense. Like, I don't think battles are won physically. We think they are, but I think battles are won up here and in here. And I just, where did I put it? Okay, yeah, so if what is held in mind creates so much here, then imagine what it creates beyond, is what I put, right? Because I put that, like, heaven is nor time nor space because those are both limiting. Heaven is. Therefore, the attachment to a heaven after here is what brings us... Yeah, I'll stop. It was a deep journal entry, man. Like, I even got into sacred geometry a little, and I've never done that. But out of nowhere, something in me was like, drawing lines and dots and connecting the lines, and like it turned into some kind of cool. I'll show you really quick, but like
Yeah.
never in my life have I ever drawn anything like that.
Hmm.
And like the dots too. So I did a dot, a dot, a dot, and a dot. And at first you'd think, oh, sideways triangle or a diamond, right? But that's a sphere, right? A circle. And then from that, so it's 4 dots, right? From that circle, I found if I cross the x-axis up to the y, back down to the x, I just made a triangle, which is an image for as above. And then I did the same thing to the bottom in that circle, and that's so below. And then I drew a line between the two. And so there was a circle with these dots, with a line going through the middle, with triangles going up and down, and then a line going down the center to the bottom. And to me, it just clicked. It was like, wow, like that's what I want to be. I don't want to just be a triangle, jagged and pointed and no flow. Like that's to me why our houses are shaped like boxes. Corners, sharp edges, like it puts you in a box mentally, where a circle has no beginning or end, right? But a triangle and a pyramid and all that have like a point and a point. And it was cool because within that circle, I could have those points and multiple. It was sacred geometry is cool, man. Like that stuff blows my mind, especially like the flower of life. That's one of my favorite.
What is that?
Oh, it's beautiful, man. It's like this intrinsic flowing circle that has multiple flowers within multiple flowers. Let's see. Yeah. You've seen it. I guarantee somebody. It's kind of a tattoo that a lot of people get, but it means a lot to a lot of people.
Okay.
It almost looks like Nordic. For people watching YouTube, you've probably seen it too, but yeah, look into it. Flower of life. But yeah, no, it was a good week, good journaling, just my wild thoughts, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're hard to tame sometimes, like, yeah.
No, I think it's good, man. I think I keep forgetting. I got to remember the quote by James Peterson, but Jordan Peterson. James Peterson, if you're looking, I love you, man. Jordan Peterson. Oh. Yeah, see, told you.
See you, GoPro.
GoPro's out.
GoPro has left the chat.
Yeah, peace. Make sure that didn't screw up the audio. Something about like the importance of writing. I'll find it after we record, and then I'll share it in the next episode so I can make sure I share it accurately. Well, but it's good because like imagine if you didn't write that out.
I could
like,
never reflect
you will
back.
And it'll just be in like it'll just put you in this weird trance and like.
Or it'll come and go, man. I've had that where something hits, exactly. And if I am not there with a pad and pen, see ya.
Yeah.
Like it's that glimpse, and if I don't tap back in, it's not coming back.
Yeah.
But I used to think journaling, like I grew up LDS, and it's kind of a big thing in that religion actually, which I admire, to be honest, because it's like, had my great ancestors not journaled, I would not have knowledge on them, right? Like, my Grammy Sue, dude, she's got some journals that, like, it's just crazy to look back on and be like, whoa. Like we're saying, sharing we can connect with. When you journal, imagine 100 years later, your grandkid finds your journal, and they're struggling in that moment, and your words that were written speak to them and teach them even beyond the point. It's the legacy in my mind. Like, legacy is all over if you think about it, and it's like we all are a legacy in a sense. Like, it's kind of wild. You're really well at journaling, man. Your journal and your writing. God, do you have your notebook? No. Dang.
No.
I wanted you to show the guys, you'll have to see it eventually, but this man right here has the most it's art. the way this guy writes on a page is artwork.
Yeah.
Like when you look at his handwriting and even his normal handwriting, but he writes in like calligraphy. It's like cursive. It's like old time cursive.
Yeah.
I admire it, man. Like they stopped teaching cursive after my grade, I think. Like kids don't know it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
I heard
like,
about that. It's crazy.
It's cursive actually locks your writing in. I don't know if you've heard that, but that's
Locks it in.
locks it in.
Hmm.
Like it's all connected in a sense, right? So it's almost like it's all one thing within itself, where nowadays our writing is spaced out and separated,
Yeah.
and it's that kind of disconnection where cursive, it was a lot more powerful, man, I think. Like words are powerful beyond measure. That's why they call it spelling. You know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
our words are magical,
Hmm.
and cursive is kind of like, but I have heard the flip that it's like you're casting curses, cursive. Like who knows? But
That's funny.
I just think it solidifies things when you write in cursive.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never heard that. I think Austin said it's like it's flow.
That's exact.
Yeah. So I like that, you know,
It's
because it is, man. Like when I'm writing, I really am just flowing. Yeah, I had some pretty good journal this week too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember up here
Uh-huh.
what on?
Yeah, it was pretty good, man.
Pretty good, or like hell, dude, this was the one of the better. Like this was a great journal entry. Are you just being modest saying pretty good, or like you
No,
can be
I
honest?
think it was pretty good.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so I had this idea. I even hate saying I had, because I don't think any thought is
This
organic.
idea hit me.
Yeah.
I
I
know what you
received
mean.
this message.
But that's beautiful too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it like happened a couple years ago, just this metaphor of a puzzle, and how putting together a puzzle, how that relates to your life. So
Really quick, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, the puzzle in life, you just said it. It drives me crazy when people are like, I'm finding myself. I'm finding myself. It's like, no, mother trucker, you're creating yourself each moment, each day, every second. Who do you want to be? You know?
Yeah.
So the puzzle, sorry, your puzzle brought back ADHD. We got something on the screen. What do we got? New iCloud terms. Oh, come on, Apple, we're busy.
busy.
Busy bees. All right, the puzzle in life. So how is putting a puzzle together like life?
So let me not share that and share what I wrote this week about it,
Okay.
because I think it finally came together like a puzzle.
Yeah.
So imagine when we're born, we have an image of ourself, of our life, of what life is. Identity, right? We have an identity. And then as we grow up, our experience in life, the circumstances, things that happen, start to jigsaw that image into different pieces.
Yeah.
And then, so as it does that, those pieces separate. And then eventually we get to this point where we're like, who am I?
I don't even see the puzzle anymore. Yeah, like the image of the puzzle is gone at that point.
it's like a undone puzzle in a box.
Yeah.
Like,
Or like at grandma's house, that half put together puzzle and all the pieces are on the table kind
we'll
of
get
thing.
to that.
Like,
We'll get to that,
oh,
because
snap.
that's part of it. So
Dang.
yeah, there comes this point in life, and I think most people I've talked to have this experience as well, as like there's just this moment where you're kind of like, who am I really? Like, what is my identity? What do I believe in? What does this
I'm
mean?
Derek Robinson. And then
Yeah.
you spiral from that when you ask the questions, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like this puzzle in a box. You dump it out. You can recognize the colors of the pieces. There's even some, snap like pixels of image that you're like, I kind of know what that is. And so you start to put it together. You're like,
sometimes you put the wrong piece.
yeah,
You never try to cram it or it'll break. Like
yeah.
that is so life.
Well, so then think about, you get on a run, you're like, bam, 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 like this piece,
Feeling yourself a bit.
and then you're like, oh no, I can't find one. I can't find the next piece. I can't find the next piece. And you kind of start to like get
Is it
annoyed.
in here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did somebody lose that piece? Who used this last? Where's my piece?
So exactly, think about that. Did somebody lose this piece?
Right.
Did the company make a mistake that made the puzzle?
Did so-and-so
Meaning,
say
did
this?
God make a mistake? Whoever your God is, like.
That's.
Yeah, and so you're putting this puzzle together, and so just like you would in actually putting a puzzle together, the times that you can't find the piece, what do? And chances are that pattern relates to your life as your journey inward. I think is what Austin teaches so well, is like, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
There's going to be pieces hiding under the table. There's going to be pieces that fell off and even ended up in your pocket somehow.
Right. Pieces in plain sight that you're looking beyond.
That's
in a
the
sense,
biggest
and it's
thing.
right there.
Exactly.
And like that's when you asked how it relates to life. When I mean up until probably 20, puzzle making, dude, I'd get so frustrated when I couldn't find that piece that I would stop. And I'd never go back to that puzzle, right? Now as an adult,
Yes.
I go, like now, after, 20, I mean, I was an adult then technically, but like now at 28, it's kind of like when I lose my wallet, anything, I'll breathe.
Yeah.
It's here.
Yep.
And that's all I'd say to myself. It's here. It'll show.
Yeah.
And sure enough, sometimes it's like instantaneous. You're like, it'll show, and you look down and you're like, hey, there it is, and you put it together. And so.
See, this is why I think this analogy is so beautiful.
I love it.
Because I wrote all of that. Like, I wrote everything you just said in my words.
Everyone can relate to a puzzle. Everyone has made a puzzle. Everybody, we all grew, maybe not kids now, but I mean, maybe even phones have puzzles on them. I don't know.
Something,
yeah. There's always.
Well, and then another thing is like, maybe you still don't find that piece even after you take a breath.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like,
are you going to curse the company for it, or
let
are
me
you
just
going
work on this other section.
Oh.
Let me work on this other part.
Yeah.
I could see these three could go together, but not with what I'm working on. But maybe I should just work on that for a minute.
Keep yourself from getting
hung up. And then even think about this. I didn't think about this until just now, but like, hey, Derek, will you help me, man? Help me with this puzzle.
Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, dude.
Holy crap.
Now here's the other piece.
So wait, you're telling me when I'm so hyper focused on something in life to kind of shift my focus to something else in a sense. Like that's literally what that, like me and this stupid easel, man.
Yeah.
And then that help, like, hey man.
Yeah, either ask for help, trust the process, I think applies to this, is like, stop trying to force it. Like, just, like you said, take a breath. You'll see the piece you need to work on next. There you go. Fuck.
Good.
You'll see the piece you need to work on next. And then the other aspect is like, you get your edges all done. Most people who start there.
Yeah. I'm an edge guy. I'm like, I want to build that box.
How does that apply to our boundaries that we have in life? I'm going to work on the edge. I'm going to work on my boundaries first.
Dude.
Damn.
That's a good foundation too.
Yeah.
I will say I feel people kind of confuse boundaries, and I've even done it. Like
I am still uncertain what boundaries are.
Yeah, it's tough. It honestly, like, because sometimes, like, boundaries aren't controlling another. Boundaries are you stating what your world has going on, in a sense. It's like, hey, sorry, I don't do that, man.
Right.
I'm not judging you for it, but I'm okay.
Well,
and
what I love about it, actually, because I've had this other thought of like, boundaries are stupid. Don't have boundaries, don't have expectations.
Oh, that's dangerous. Expectations are future letdowns. I get that one, but boundaries, man, that's like...
Which I think the reason and how it applies to this puzzle is, remember, the puzzle is our identity in this metaphor.
Yeah.
And so where I struggled with boundaries, it's because I didn't I didn't trust in myself, my identity enough.
Your puzzle, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't have a picture of it. And so it was hard for me to have boundaries.
Yeah.
It was hard for me, and I think I've gotten a little bit better.
Absolutely.
I still struggle though.
Dude, I think
I still
all of
have
us.
these things. Like, it took me so long to share one of my first boundaries with Sydney, and I don't even know if it's a boundary, but like where she works, she's in between Kanab and Orderville, and she said it might even have been a couple days later, maybe just when she got home that day, that she went to Orderville to get coffee, and I panicked. I was like, what if you would have wrecked on your way there and I wouldn't have known? Like, you never go that direction. I never would have thought to look that direction.
Yeah.
If you didn't come home today. And so like it was like, oh, I need you to tell me this stuff. And like it felt good to like tell her, hey, when you go somewhere out of the norm, I would like to know, not because I'm controlling, but
yeah, you don't have to, but it would.
But
if
you don't show up or I don't hear from you,
I want to know
where to go.
Absolutely. Well, and I think flip side, man, that actually shows caring and kindness to your partner.
Oh, she loved it, man.
Yeah, it's like, I love you so much that, like, you've become a part of me almost, Exactly, it's like, we're in this together, so, man, that's fun. That's such a simple little thing that even, like,
I almost didn't say it to her because I was like, no, you're being ridiculous.
Yeah, you're being a little baby, like, you think, but no,
she loved it. She needed it, She needed me to say something like that.
That significance, man.
Yeah.
Little things like that pull significance out.
Yeah.
It's like,
she is my significant other for a reason.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
So imagine you're putting together this puzzle and you can't find that piece. And a piece of life that I think that applies to really well is like when we're searching for that other person, that partner, and we get to this point where we won't even touch the rest of the puzzle because we can't find one piece.
Yeah.
And we're not even ready for that piece yet.
Right? Yeah.
And not only that, but that piece isn't in anyone else's hands.
Yeah.
It's you, right? Because we're building our puzzle.
Yeah.
And we can't be with another person until we can.
You can, but
we can't expect anyone else to hold the pieces to our puzzle.
Absolutely.
They can help us flip them over and say, hey, maybe this one works there. Hey, totally. What about this piece? But we can't expect them to have that missing piece.
Absolutely.
That we're looking everywhere for, that's right in front of our face, but we're too busy trying to find ourselves in somebody else, or I expect you to heal me. I expect, I can't live without you. Like, that's such a sentimental thing to say, but is it true? Like, you actually can live without people.
Yeah.
You can. One of the hardest things and most blunt things I think I've ever said to my mom was, Mom, I would be fine if you died. It would suck. I don't want it to happen, but I would still be able to live.
Yeah.
And if I get stuck on this, I can't live without you, then as soon as you die, I'm going to die.
That's the attachment.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
That's literally the attachment right there. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Dude, have you ever read The Alchemist?
No.
Paulo Coelho or Paulo Coelho or something?
Mm-mm.
You are literally saying that book in this whole, like, searching outside of yourself for what you think, the treasure in a sense. You're looking everywhere outside of you when really it's always been you.
Yeah.
It's always been within the I am, within this, like, not beyond anything else. And I like that you said that, because one of the things this week that stuck out to me, man, was like, in all of my past relationships, what I have reflected on and like realized was, without even knowing it, maybe I started it. I don't know if the females I dated started it, but without knowing it, we would pull each other out of our worlds in a sense, thinking that we had to create this world together, right? And by doing that, you lose sight of your own world so much that there's no longer your foundation as you. You are now this. And that's where it gets super attachment, super confused, almost depression kicks in, because it's like you're not living for yourself enough, and you're so, but you have to be at the same time, right? Like as men, we have to live in our masculinity, I believe. And that doesn't mean some macho caveman. It means like, hey, you're a guy. Like, live in what you, when someone says live in your masculinity, I think, okay, I'm a man. Like, yeah, I have the parts. Like, yeah, living in masculinity to me is being honest, doing what I love, and loving others, right? And living in your femininity isn't some like, be in the kitchen, be a good wife, bullcrap. It's same thing in a sense. Like, each one is the same thing, but it's how it applies to you and the sex that you are, right? And so you gotta still be in your world while creating this world 100% both together. And if you stop being in your worlds, clash, dude, because now you're in a world together and there's no communication in a sense, because you both think you know the world, and it's like, we made this world together, I know what you're thinking, and it's like, I never know what anyone's thinking unless they share it. Like,
Yeah.
it's wild. I'm running with it, but what were you gonna
Well, no,
tie in?
I think back to the puzzle analogy is like, we try to build each other's puzzles with our pieces.
Yes, that's so
And so,
true,
like,
and they don't fit. They're all
They might
jammed.
fit, but
The image
the
isn't.
image is
Yeah.
off. The identity changes.
That's so true. We have to, and it comes to like almost a love and respect to allow the other. Like, dude, that's one of the hardest things for me. I've realized reflecting on that I'm working on currently is like not being a teacher to everyone, especially women I'm with. Like,
Likewise, yeah.
dude, I probably drove the living crazy hell out of my ex, the woman I was married to, who I've brought up. Like, probably drove her crazy because I didn't realize I was doing it, but it came down as condescending or speaking down to, when really I was just like, hey, like, I've learned some cool stuff that's helped me. Like, I want to just share it, but it was like crammed, like forced, almost like, like some people struggle with religions because they're like, hey, I don't want your beliefs shoved in my mouth. But it's like, we do that to each other naturally, in a sense. And so that's one thing that I'm like, okay, pump the brakes. Like you're saying, my pieces are not to her puzzle.
Right.
Her pieces are to her puzzle, and my pieces are to my puzzle. And maybe together we could hang them both on the wall.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
that is.
They
and
actually
even
do
glue.
fit together that way because they're straight edges.
That's what I'm saying.
They do fit together,
That's what
but
I'm
you can't
saying.
like.
You can't mix them though.
Yeah.
And then you glue it, and glue is the solidifying of a new belief. Maybe like a new.
Yeah.
You become firm in that image, and now you know the boundaries. You now know the direction. You now know the meaning.
Yep.
All of it.
Well, because that to me, identity is our meaning and our beliefs. Like,
it's a big one, man.
Like when I think about what my identity is, and it's the I am statements, which to me are beliefs. It's like, I am this. Okay, well that's a belief.
Or it's
and you're also saying that that's who you are, which is identity. It's like, so be careful with those.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't say, oh, I just am not
lazy.
A morning person.
Yeah, I'm slow. I'm not good at this.
I hate Mondays. I'm not good on Mondays.
Dude, one that I realized actually this week was with nicotine. Back when I was like, so I started smoking cigarettes at 13 and I stopped at 23, but I still do nicotine pouches and stuff. It honestly does help with ADHD. I believe that. Like, but it's not something that you need daily. Like, yeah, I'm a little attached to it and I got to work through it. I don't like the word I'm addicted because I'm not. Like, there's something in me that's attaching. And I think it is what I speak, because back when I was like young, maybe like 17, 18, and people would be like, hey, you want a cigarette? I'd be like, yeah, I'll have one. Or I'd be like, oh, no, like not feeling it. and they'd be like, man, like, and you watch it. A lot of people who smoke or drink or do something that they think is bad, which I put quotations because if you think, therefore you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny because you'll be around these people and they're like, oh, I gotta quit. It's so hard to quit this. It's so hard to give up nicotine. It's
Mm-hmm.
such a tough one. It's so addictive. And that, man, just being around and being an autopilot while I was around rather than being aware, I naturally started creating these beliefs, man.
Mm.
Nicotine is hard to quit. Nicotine is a tough one. Nicotine is like the biggest addictive, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to quit. And that's what I was saying to myself. And then the other day I realized it and I was like, you know what? Like, with or without it, I am.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's not like it was just interesting letting go of that. But it is true. We have to be careful with what we say about our world, man, because it truly is constantly creating itself.
Yeah.
Constantly. Right now, our worlds are creating it. Like,
Yeah.
and
Well, and what I'm realizing now is that those statements don't match the images on the pieces.
yeah,
And so we're going to be looking for that. Dude, yeah, we're going to be looking for the I am addicted to nicotine piece that isn't actually there.
yeah,
It's a different piece that you need to find.
I agree.
Wow.
That is, we could go all day on this puzzle talk, man.
Yeah,
I want to
dude.
make a puzzle now. Who's in?
I think that there could be a puzzle used as like training for this topic though.
I don't see why not. Like a little
And you could like purposely give them the wrong piece and like
have pieces with other people,
Yeah.
and they're like, and you'll watch and be like, who goes around and asks?
yeah.
Who
Exactly,
stays
yeah.
in their space and gets frustrated?
And it would be even cooler if it could be like their childhood picture that you cut up into
Holy
a puzzle.
crap. All right, we're doing it. That is a good breakthrough right there, man.
Yeah,
Are you
man.
kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, when I did Turning Leaf, Dean Nixon's Turning Leaf, Doc Moody and him used to do it. Biggest breakthrough I've had, man. One of them. Like, and there's a part in it where, dude, you envision your happy place, right? Mine was the creek
Hmm.
here in town. Like, sorry, I'm getting choked up because it was so emotional, but that's like the most beautiful place to me. Water, willows, birds, warm, blue sky, sunsets, all that. And I'm picturing it, and it was at night though with a full moon. And they're like, as you're walking through this happy place, you see a figure up ahead. And their back is to you, and they're like, how old are they? And like you go through it, and man, it was so cool. Like, I was there. I was there as a grown adult walking up to 4-year-old me,
Hmm.
tapping him on the shoulder and hugging him, and like it was huge.
Yeah.
Huge because it was like we lose sight of our inner child, man.
Yeah.
And that's the imagination, that's the beauty, that's the creation, that's the love. And we lose sight of it due to the way that our puzzle gets cut
It's
as we're
jigsawed
building
up,
it. Yeah. And having that connection back, man, like I hugged myself in that meditation and was just, it hits, man, because what I said to myself was, I've always been here.
Hmm.
Thanks for coming back.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was like, holy crap, like,
Yeah.
it's powerful, man.
Yeah.
Anyone can do it, too. You could be at home right now listening to this. Close your eyes, ground your feet, palms up, take deep breaths, and think of your happy place. And it doesn't have to be your child self. It could be you at 15. It could be you at 13. When was one of the most tough times you feel in your life? Maybe you'll go to that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's powerful, man. You meditate on that and really envision it. You're smelling that space. You're feeling that space.
Yeah.
You're touching the sand. You're there. And then you notice that figure. And you just slowly start to walk to him. Or you can run, you know? And it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Like, in some too, like, I mean, you can have, just let it flow, but go through and like, yeah, man, inner self, inner child is like, I've heard a thing, our first fear is actually birth. Thich Nhat Hanh said that.
Interesting.
And it makes sense. Like, we go from this, first we wake up without going to bed, right? That's kind of trippy, but we go from our mother's womb where it's warm, dark, we're
Yeah.
safe, we feel, we're used to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And then we come out into this bright room that's cold, noises, sounds, it all hits us at once in a sense. And that's why babies, you don't see a baby come out just like,
Laughing.
smiling. They're always like, they're waking up like,
Yeah.
like they have a major hangover. They're just like, light.
Yeah.
And that's our first fear in a sense, is actually life. Isn't that funny that our first fear is breath in a sense, life?
Mm.
Like, we're like, oh, and then we take that first, and it hurts. Our lungs aren't used to that yet. We've been in water. We've had a tube to us that was feeding us, breathing, all that. And now it's like our lungs are taking in that first breath. And I imagine and I won't say I'm a wild thinker, man. And maybe I just trip myself out on it, but I swear I remember birth.
Yeah.
And like, it's like when you're running and it's so cold outside and your lungs just are like, they're not on fire, but like kind of pins and needly, like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ran again, man. Sorry.
No.
What time are we at even? Where
An
are we?
hour.
Oh man, we might have to.
Yeah, we didn't even get to our sponsors, dude.
I know.
Hell.
Hey.
Someday.
Big shout out to Tony Robbins. Thank you for the merch. Big shout out.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It would be so cool if Tony Robbins found our stuff.
Not if, when Tony Robbins finds our stuff.
That's right, man.
Like,
might as well, dude. I pretty much preach Tony.
you kind of, I mean, we started today with a priming thing that he does, and I won't lie, that was honestly like, I'd never done the, did you? So it's through
the
nose, right? You know what that's called? I think it's dragon's breath or fire breath, and that's something that triggers anger sometimes. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
If you pay attention to yourself when you're angry, you're not, unless it's like a real anger, you're like heavy, but it's usually like that.
Yeah.
But it also is a strength. Like, we do that to draw in. Like, breath is so powerful, man.
Oh, dude, it is. Yeah, it is.
I love it. Well, we'll wrap it, but what do we want to leave them with? I mean, find the pieces.
Puzzle, yeah. Man, I think there was so many good stuff though, like
a lot.
Yeah,
but really the
there
puzzle
really was.
Stood out, man.
Yeah. It's cool too, like, yeah. So
it gives an image too to it. Everyone knows a puzzle. Everyone understands those analogies. Like, I love it. And it brings us back to our childlike self, because when were you making puzzles the most?
Yeah, true.
In kindergarten, at school, and, you know, free time on the alphabet mat.
Yeah.
That's pretty. You could even say, last thing, but you could say you get in a fight because, let's say you're doing the puzzle together with somebody and they take the piece that you were going for, and then it creates this, but really, was it ever your piece because they're the one who picked it up?
Yeah.
Kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Freaking A, man.
Yeah.
Being at one.
Yeah.
What were I saw a thought. Do we want to save it for the next? Though?
Yeah, we can save it for sure. It's good. Yeah.
What though? Like, give us a little. Give us a little bit of that ice cream.
Just make sure you're working on your puzzle.
My puzzle?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Or like, I think, people listening? Are you saying me specific or everybody?
Yeah, because I think we might be doing the activity of putting a puzzle together, but is it ours? Or are we trying to put somebody else's puzzle together?
Right. That's true.
Yeah. That was more for me.
No, but that's for me. That's for
to hear that.
That's for everybody listening, man. Yeah. Like, be sure in yourself that, you know, this is the puzzle for you in a sense. Like, I had a Hot Wheels puzzle as a kid, and I loved it, dude. It was like this sweet hot rod surfer car with like flames, and it said Hot Wheels, and like.
Nice.
Yeah. Don't know where it went. Gotta get a new one. Gotta find a new puzzle.
All right.
All right, guys. Peace and love. Thank you.
Love you, bitches.